Alrighty, folks, this is the Three Amigos. We typically get together 8 a.m. Pacific time Wednesday. Normally we go for an hour. Unfortunately, today I've got some stuff to do, so we're only going to do a half hour. Let's welcome the guys to the show. Dion, how are you?
Howdy, I'm doing great. I look forward to this. This lets me know what day of the week it is.
That's right. It must be Wednesday.
It's the day after you're live.
There you go. And Matthew, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It was good to spend some time hanging out with you, Mike. Yesterday it was a good time.
Oh, absolutely. I think the audience loved it. Right? You're trying to sell a couple of single family homes.
I am.
It's a little bit like crickets out there. You're getting some disrespectful offers.
I am.
And the like. So very. Oh, look at that. He's signing a deal right now.
I'm literally signing off on an eviction right now.
That's hilarious. That is so good. Well, what I wanted to do with this conversation to start, and again, remember, we always are open to questions, so you can put them in there. I just wanted to dig in a little bit more on what I talked about on the daily financial news. I want people to realize that I think 2025 is going to be tough for most people, but it's actually going to be great for a few people. And if you're in this community, if you are doing the work, you're very likely going to be on the good side of that equation, because what's going to happen in 2025, if we truly have higher rates for longer, is the housing market's going to get even more skewed to a buyer's market, right? Today, NAR put out the numbers for last month, and they were bad. They're going to get worse, right? We just did 3.84 million transaction annualized. We're going to be down at 3.7, 3.65. It's going to get worse from here. And that's, if you're a buyer, specifically if you're an investor, that's great news. It's easier to find motivated sellers. It's easier to get creative financing. So I want to encourage this audience to realize, while 2025 is going to be rough for many, if not most, the other side of that coin is there's going to be opportunity for the folks that are positioned for it. So I want to make sure you see the silver lining. I think it is going to be a great year, if not a good year, for investors, but you got to do the work. No gambling, no betting on appreciation, no, buy that date the rate nonsense. Let's get 30-year fixed, make sure it cash flows day one, all of that. Matt, what do you think about that? 2025 rough for most, good for some?
Yep. I'll be that silver lining is bad investors' tears around the cloud. So I think it's going to be a good year. Frankly speaking, is that, I'm going to always have a good year. It's just which assets I'm going to be buying. When you have that level of diversification, you can buy different type of stuff. There's going to continue to be trouble in office. I'd like to say I could buy one of those buildings at 90% off, and then it's pretty good. And then what can you do with it? So yeah, I think this year is going to be a good year. I think that's, I actually have my event tonight, which is building a bulletproof portfolio. That's what this is about. Build a bulletproof portfolio. Make sure that no matter what comes in 2026, that you still have what you need coming in for rents. The biggest thing that the three of us have going for each other, aside from our devilishly good looks, is the fact that we've got time in the game. And so we can live on less from a margin perspective. Newer investors aren't going to have that luxury. And so it's really going to be very important that you have your portfolio set up properly allocated going into 2025 and being ready for that. And lastly that's not diversification of assets. That's diversification of tenant pool is really what that is.
Yeah, I love all of that. Dion, again, not that you will do this, but just to put it in context, what I mean by a rough year for many, but good for some, it would be one of those years you could pick up another Burr project on the water. That's what I want people to realize, is if you had that opportunity, you could, because there'll be more $500,000 properties sold for 400 like you picked up last time. So that's what's coming. I hope people see that.
It's a Dion-shaped hole in the wall.
Run.
So it's entirely possible I pick up another property in 2025. It won't be a Burr. It'll be like all but one of my properties.
Yeah.
No kidding. And as much as this is going to break Matt's brain.
Oh, freaking hell.
From the MLS.
Sure.
I will pay market price.
Uh-huh.
I will not shop for a discount. I will not hunt for this amazing, weird off-market deal. It's just going to be, this was on the MLS. It was listed at this amount. I see this is what's going on with the trends. Because what are the trends? Remote work is still a thing. Rents are pushed up further out from the big work areas. Prices still haven't spiked up there because the remote workers don't want to buy because they still might get called back to the office. This is probably going to be this way for another year or two. So when I'm looking in these a little bit further out markets where I ended up buying, I'm still seeing deals I would pick up. And so the two things that tell me would I buy is, one, am I ready? Which right now I'm building the capital. So I'm not ready right now because I'm not going to tap equity. I'm not going to add debt to an existing asset to buy another one because I'm not in growth mode. It would make total sense in growth mode. What I'm going to do is I'm making a video tomorrow about this, but I'm gonna let the money grow. And then when it's ready, and I'll spend about 3 months at least hunting to make sure I'm getting a great deal in the current market, knowing area average, knowing what rents are, knowing what prices and interest rates are. Then I'll buy another deal sometime next year, just because that's how almost all my deals, all but one, were acquired that way, straight from the MLS, market price, right? I mean, I negotiate a little bit to try to get a better price, but was only one that I've gone and, okay, this one's been on the market a long time. I'm going to go for a disrespectful offer. I think the next one is just going to be like all my other purchases.
I really hope that's not the case. If we got to lead by example, you got to go. You got to at least try to get a disrespectful offer. Why pay market price? It's going to be that kind of environment.
We've
So
established he's allergic. He's allergic to cash. He hates cash. I'm pretty sure the bags of cash he has that he comes in on a monthly basis, I'm pretty sure he like puts them in the corner and then like shoots at them. And it's like, you're naughty cash. You're bad. I hate you. You're bad.
It's a lumpy
cash.
mattress full of cash. But
Yeah.
I just did an interview or an hour-long talk with Mikey Buzztune, right? He won the hour giveaway for anybody going to the One Rental at a Time event, and in the video leaving a comment. In the last year, he's acquired 2 properties. He's closing on his 3rd now, all from the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
All price. He's negotiating as best he can, right? He's going to have property manager. He's cash flowing. He's done in this year, because he watches the One Rental at a Time community in this 1 year, and he interacts with Mark Ashiro, the financial firefighter. Like they interact a lot, right? So he's got this knowledge base. Mm-hmm. He's done in less than 12 months what took me over 4 years.
Yeah.
From the MLS, paying market price with area average rents, finding good deals, nothing creative, nothing special, nothing predictive about 6 months or a year from now. So it's entirely possible. Mm-hmm. And yes, there are better, there are faster, there are more aggressive, there are more creative ways to do this. But boring and not sexy still works.
Oh, I agree with all of that. I suspect that any deals I find will be out of the MLS as well. I just won't be paying list price. That won't happen. We got some, I guess these are super chats. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate it. Dividend Dave, thank you so much. And then Cody, nice to see you again, buddy. He wants to say our biggest mistake of 2024. All right. What's our biggest mistake of 2024? Matt, you want to go first?
Doing too many videos with DM where he pays retail. It's going to rub off.
It's going to rub off.
It's gross. No, I would, worst mistake of 2024. I don't really know. I like kind of all the stuff that I did in 2024 because, year 22, there's not a whole lot that you like, even with Dion, like he didn't deviate from what he normally does. Mm-hmm. Like, once you're kind of year 10, you can do something new and do something different, but what we did worked and we got where we got doing what works. And so I don't know if there's anything that I did that was like the biggest mistake. Oh, you know what? No, I can't. No, I look at it and I just go, it was fine. Like, I think the biggest mistake that I made was going into doing a 1031, and not realizing it was a triple 1031 into 1031 into 1031, yeah. And not having 4 or 5 properties really locked down, but only having a couple. And so got one done and then one blew up and then it was a, oh no moment. So right. I'd say that's probably the biggest mistake I made this year was next time, the next 1031 that I'm going to do it with more assets, more assets available that I can
get on the list. Makes sense. Dion, any thoughts on a mistake in 2024?
Yes, not being at the McDonald's where Trump was serving the fries, because then I would take Dividend Dave's super chat right there and I would go buy me some fries and have Trump give them to me. My biggest mistake in 2024, Cody, comes from actions I took in 2023. And I hate to kind of disagree with what Matt said. That's not on purpose. I swear this time. Matt said I didn't deviate from what I normally do. And my biggest mistake of 2024 is I should have spent the entire winter, 2023 to 2024, on a beach in Thailand, scuba diving with whale sharks and tourists from all over the world, enjoying a summer in my retirement. And instead, I went through a 10-month burr, which created $3,750 an hour for my time, because my time is worth so much more than that. I know it sounds stupid and sounds ridiculous, and most of my life I've made $20 an hour.
You're right.
But
you're right.
I lost a year. I lost a year of the traveling and scuba diving that I'm going to do this year. That was my biggest mistake, Cody, was doing a burr when boring and not sexy. Could have increased my cash flow, maybe not increased my net worth as much as this burr did, but it would have increased my time freedom in retirement more so than, like Matt said, though, what we did worked, and now I've retired and now I can try other things. I did try something else. And what did it do? It cost me a year.
So often we talk about year one not being like year 20, right? And year one not being like year 10, right? You don't expect a 10-year-old to act like a 1-year-old. You don't expect a 22-year-old to act like a 1-year-old, unless you're my brother-in-law. And so the challenge becomes, that's great in retirement. And this is one of the few things that Dion and I disagree with. That's great in retirement, but it's not great when you're climbing the ladder and when you want to get out faster. I wanted to get out faster, right? So when I wanted to get out faster, my goal was as many inputs as I possibly could get would allow me to make the best deal, the best decision that would help me get out of the game faster. And so for a while it was about growing. It was always about growing the financial number. I didn't care necessarily about, I was trying to get to 100 assets or 200 assets or 300 assets. Didn't care. It was about getting to a much, much bigger number. And so my path was do everything I can to accelerate to get to retirement, because now, Dion, I would not go scubaing with Dion in fear I get harpooned. So, that's the only reason that's not going to happen. But that's where, for me, that's what I'm so passionate about on the beginning side of it, is if I can do those bigger transactions. And Dion could have done that deal, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. He had the skills to do that deal. So if you can do just 1 or 2 of those, boom, done. You just rocket shipped yourself through, and now you're retiring years earlier. And that's the only beef that I have with that, is I know that he wouldn't do it again now. I mean, he needs his beauty rest. And he's got to get his tanks prepped. I get all that stuff. But when you're in it and you're trying to get to that other side of the mountain, I don't want to take the scenic route on that first mountain. I want to get everything I can in fast and speed and get to the other side so I can start my vista view.
Yeah. So I was thinking about my biggest mistake in 2024, and I'm going to call it buying Vegas, that 6-part TV or whatever you want to call it series I put together. That was $10,000 it was good filming. And yeah, I mean, it was fine, but I mean, I have to do so much more with it, right? We got to walk properties and do all these things, and it just morphed into this bigger, and then I had to get everybody's schedules together, and I'm like, I'm too lazy. This is too hard. Too many people. Everybody has different, like, you guys all work. Why don't you be more flexible? So yeah, that was that was if I could do that over again, I'd save that 10 grand. Let's just say that. So it's the truth. It's the truth. Oh man. So we did get a question, I think, on one of our videos yesterday. I know we only have 15 or so minutes left. Let's talk about winding down our portfolios when and if that ever might happen, aka exit strategies. Dion, I guess you're the oldest of the group, so I'll give you the opportunity to go first, kind of paint your vision. I'll go next, and then we'll let the baby go last.
So I've pretty much planned my exit strategy based on about a 20-year cycle. So most of my properties were either acquired or refinanced when I was 50. Right? In 2020, I was turning 50, and interest rates dropped to 3%, so I refinanced everything. So in about 20 years, I will not make extra payments. I will not use the HELOC strategy to pay it off sooner. I will just have 20 years of loan amortization and principal pay down happening to have a serious amount of equity to where I won't have much left. I'll probably sell 1 or 2 properties to take care of all of the debt. And then I'm going to sell or finance the entire portfolio to somebody like Millennial Mike, right? Somebody who's in the game, who's about 20 years younger than me, to start their cycle to probably do something similar. Right. And then have a note and get away from tenants, toilets, and termites, but still have the income.
Yeah. I think my strategy is pretty similar to that, with one kind of caveat. We are definitely going to set up a portion of our portfolio, call it 20%, call it 35%, somewhere in there, as free and clear properties for our daughter, right? So, when we do pass, she gets the stepped up basis and, she'll be taken care of for the rest of her life. The other, let's call it the other 60%, maybe 70% of the portfolio, I suspect we sell off 25% or so of that. We get big piles of money, and then we sell or finance the rest. I think that's where we're going to end up. Matthew?
It depends on what my kids want to do, honestly. If they've already been in it, they're all in it. They all go to job sites, they'll meet with contractors, they all see all that stuff. So, quite frankly, I think it's going to be, we'll see if one of the kids wants to run the business and if they want to buy out of the business or if they want to run it and get a bigger share because they're, contributing to their siblings. Don't know. But my guess is, so if all 4 of my kids hate it and they're just like, Dad, no interest, like, don't want to do it, don't want to, nothing, no good. Then we would probably start to sell our finance and do it on like a rolling.
Yeah.
Do it like over a rolling amount of time and then just, keep on selling more and more and more. Because, at that point, the cash flow from that, even now, the cash flow from that, I don't look at price tags anymore. So the cash flows at a point now where it's like, okay, now I have a Dion problem, or more of a Dion problem. I have a bunch of cash that I have to find a place to spend it. Right. So yeah, I would start. So it's going to be looking at what the kids want to do with the business. I know if I died tomorrow, Ashley would sell them all. So
yeah, I think that's actually, wow. Would Olivia sell them all? I'll have to ask her.
Yours is different. Yours is different because you already have everything set up to be managed.
Yeah.
She might just go, hey, sell half, but the other half keep and manage.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Or about, hey, basically Zuber, if I had to self-manage, what would I do? And then Dion and Matt, the opposite of that, I would go buy a commercial building, a little, I don't know, 1,000 square foot commercial building. And I'd hire some people because I'm personally never going to take those phone calls and do those things. I would wrap a team around me. Which, Olivia and I have thought about doing. If we actually lived in Fresno, California, if that was where one of our houses were,
yes,
we've talked about that, but you can't really do that from another state. So, not going to work. Do you guys have any thoughts? Yeah. What would you do if you had a PM?
You had to rely on a PM.
So, this is going to be counterintuitive because this is the way Dion sees the world and has been successful. I like Zuber, hire slow, fire fast, right? And you had 5 PMs in your first couple of years or something like it. I forget the details, but it was something like that. Mm-hmm. I would want to hire a PM who doesn't like me. I would specifically be going out of my way to make sure they don't like me. Like my lenders don't like me. My lenders can't stand me. Because the best treatment you'll get from a vendor is a vendor who's uncertain of their position with you. The person who has the ability to walk away has the power. So if I have a property manager that knows that based on how they treat me, the attention my rentals get is the likelihood of me continuing to work with them, which means they don't like me because they like the people that they can kind of walk on. They won't be able to do that with me. So it's going to be a negotiated lower percentage, right? The lowest that I can negotiate compared to what else is out there. That could be anywhere from 6 to 30%. What is normal? I'm going to try to beat that. Just like the buying a rental off the MLS, I'm going to try to find a deal that beats the area average. Then it's going to be no fee tenant placement because I want them fearing tenant turnover as much as I would. My brother he just fired his property manager We did a video 2 days ago on this.
Saw it.
He had a no fee tenant placement, 6% property manager, but they messed up on a water heater replacement. And he was like, no, I'm firing you on all my properties and I'll just manage it myself. I would have several comparable property manager offers on what it would be to manage my portfolio. And each property manager that I've talked with would have seen the other property management companies' offers on what they're doing to know what they're competing with, that they either have to match or beat to keep my business. It's how I would do it. It's how I would run it. And I might do that someday. It's exactly how I would do it. Someday I might maybe do that.
Yeah. So we insource property management. And so it would be literally about a week transfer, and we could have it all over to a property manager. But what we would do probably a little bit differently is I would actually hire 3 different ones, put them all in our system, give them all their section of properties to manage. And then after a year, just let them know, hey, so in a year, 2 of you are getting fired. You let me know. You're going to tell me which one it's going to be because I'm going to see it in a year. And that's how
funny. That's funny. I don't know that I've shared this. Olivia and I, for about 4 years, had our portfolio about 50-50 with 2 different teams.
Yeah. It's the way to do it.
Yeah. We did that.
And if you can take away the complexity, if they're all in the same, like I would still keep all my systems. I would still run all of that. It's exactly how it would run. So it runs just like it runs today. The only difference is who's sending the email back on the other side. That's it.
Yeah. Love it.
Everything
we got a
else.
question. We did have a question here I thought was interesting. Will you guys be buying single family or multifamily or commercial in the next year or 2? I'll go to Dion first. What do you think, Dion?
I would only consider commercial if I had fixed rate debt. And I wouldn't have considered it until I had several rental properties. I wouldn't want to start with more units on one property with tenants coming from the same area. I like them spread out.
Yep.
I'm okay with it now, but I would want fixed rate debt. I go with the right out of the One Rental at a Time book, what has the best yield. And since I know my market, that's going to be small multifamily. I have not seen a single family house that would even cash flow in a decade.
And small multifamily, just to be clear, is 2 to 4?
2 to 4. Yeah, right. 2 to 4. So the reason being, a 5 unit or more, you get apartment rents. A 4 unit or less, you get almost identical. I get actually more rent from my triplex than I do for my single family house. So I'd get more rents, probably better yield, price is comparable. So it's going to be, for me, small multifamily because I know my market.
Yeah.
There are people who invest in Ohio. There are parts of Ohio where single family just destroy what you can get from single family or small multifamily.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Matthew, what are you thinking? What do you if you were going to be adding anything next year, what would it be, you think?
Well, I bought a single family 30 days ago due to peer pressure from Dion. Made a bunch of statements that I had to prove wrong. So I bought that house. That was $153,000.
Thank you, Dion.
And then exactly. And then I've got another deal that we're working on. I think is just under $700K for a 4 unit. And so, yeah, I'll buy. So I'm in the process of buying now. I'm in the process of selling now, trading out of one asset to get into another. And yeah, we'll buy more singles, doubles, triples, octuples. We'll buy whatever the numbers work on.
Yeah. So for us, we are going to buy something here in Vegas. That's very likely going to be a single family home, non-HOA with the ability to add a casita. That's what's going to work for cash flow. But as far as our main market, I am very happy to do nothing in our main market, Fresno, California, for those that don't know. But I suspect in 2026, I will be 1031ing out of homes into small commercial. This is what you and I talked about in our conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, if I don't want this to happen, but if they come in and do some first time home buyer free money thing,
yeah,
and we see a 20% pop in first entry level housing,
yep,
and we see the collapse of the 5 through 40s, which I know is coming.
Yep,
it's going to be really hard for me not to go pick up bagfuls of money.
Well, so the first time home buyer thing, what's interesting about that is that last time it was largely single family houses.
Mm-hmm.
I think this time it's going to be different. I think it's going to be because
I think so too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think singles, doubles, tries, and quads all have that same massive value attached to them because of the new rules that they have with the 5% down.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think you're dead on. I think, and that's where, honestly, that's where I might have to make the decision. Out of my 52 buildings, 45 of them are 4 units and less.
You have a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Basically all. Like it's
Yeah.
basically all. It's, I mean, one hand, if you got an extra two fingers, is how many,
Yeah.
commercial / larger ones I own. So that could be my agent just literally selling my portfolio off over the course of a year or two.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah. Again, I like we talked about yesterday, I do not want to see entry level housing pop 20%. But if you start giving away free money, it's going to. And I'll just do exactly what I did last time. I'd have a hard time saying no to that for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Look at Billy's first deal was a 30-unit, 3-story apartment in 2015. Good
That's
job,
awesome.
Billy.
I don't even own a 30 unit. My biggest is
You did
12.
My biggest is 20. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. All right, what else do we got? You guys see any other questions you want to riff on for another 5 minutes?
Dion.
I didn't see any other questions in there.
I think a lot of just people telling Dion what a great strategy he has.
Yeah, half of my comments are people loving on Dion. I love Dion. Dion's the man.
That's awesome.
Which is so
Dion's
weird
my
because
hero.
you guys have, I mean, don't do it, but someday if we could just share your donkey choking cash flow numbers versus my
No.
financial freedom numbers, like financial freedom numbers that I can do anything I want to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can do anything that you want to do or that I want to do, and I can invite my 4 closest celebrity friends if I cared, right? Because you can pay them all to be there is my point, right? It's so, and that's again, to your point, right-sized.
Yeah.
You're right-sized. You're perfectly sized for what you want out of life.
You won the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Goldilocks investor.
A beautiful retiree in his mid 50s, early 50s.
Coming up on mid. Yeah.
Yeah, early, but you're not there yet. I wasn't trying to push you there. I was trying to do the math in my head.
Oh, that's the difference. I think that's the difference between all three of us is
3 years each, right?
Do you hesitate getting older?
No, couldn't care less.
I don't know if it's just like I run into all the girls that were like into Bruce Willis and all the older guys, but I'm like, I have a lot more game as I get older and uglier than I had when I was in my 30s. What the hell? I'm okay with this.
Like, man, if you'd met me in my 30s, you really wouldn't have been interested.
Well, we got one quick question from Jackie that we'll answer, and then we'll wrap this one up because I got to bounce. For all of you, do you have any partners in your business? Dion, you want to go first?
Have you met people? No, I almost partnered with Millennial Mike. We were going to make an offer for him in LLC on, I think, a 5 or 6plex. I don't know. It might end up being the one he purchased with his other investors, or that one that we were going for fell through. No, there's a question here that's tied to it from Billy. Why do I want 30-year fixed rate debt? And why do I not want partners? I like to fire and forget. I get a mortgage and then I never think about it again. No loan reevaluation period, no adjustable rate, no balloon payments, no thought ever goes into it other than watching interest rates and thinking if they drop low enough, I'll increase my cash flow. And I would do 1,000-year debt if I could. Million-year debt, doesn't matter. My equity would grow exactly the same. It doesn't matter whether it's being paid off or whether equity growth is happening. So I don't care about it being paid off. I would have some paid off when I go to seller finance so that it's easier to find a buyer. Right? That's right. The thing. And so partnerships, don't take this as an offense. Partnerships are like marriage. And every 5 years, we are different people. And the odds that the two people are the same direction to new people in 5 years is astronomically small. So I don't see many partnerships working out. So I haven't done that. There
you go. Matt, partners?
Been married for 19 years. It's going really well. But I, that's work. Admittedly, it's work and you grow together. You change, but you recognize those changes in each other. And usually there's something that the other one did that helps you change, or makes you. And I think the cool thing about it is that, I think partners work for a lot of people. I think what's really funny is the more that I do this, the more partnerships I see break up, like really successful partnerships where you're just like, wow, like never would have expected those guys would go to 2 different directions or that guy and that girl would go right. But that's what happened. So yeah, no partners for me. I'm kind of, on that part of my life, I'm very right-sized. I agree with Dion wholeheartedly with his approach in that regard, because I think it's the right approach. I mean, know thyself. And I don't, I want it done my way because my way works.
Yeah, so we don't have any partners either. Olivia is obviously 50-50 on everything we own. That said, we have raised millions of dollars, but it's always been debt. I will never have an equity partner.
Right.
I'll have debt partners, but I won't have equity partners. So I've raised, I don't know, 10 million, I think 9 million. I counted one time, $9 million in private money over the years. Paid it all back. I don't have any of it right now. But yeah, I'll take debt because again, there's a note, there's a clear process. If I don't pay, they get the asset. But yeah, I will never have an equity partner. If there's a deal that I need equity partner on, I just won't do the deal. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got to bounce. Dion Talk, Financial Freedom, Lumberjack Landlord. Give these guys a follow. They are amazing. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.